Live from the Pines, your favorite East Texas sports podcast, coming at you live tonight. Tonight we welcome Robert Murphy, Humble High School head coach, athletic coordinator, Lufkin, Texas alumni, Lufkin High School alumni, Sam Houston State, right?
Yeah.
What class, Sam Houston?
Spring '09.
Spring '09, Sam Houston State grad. How are you doing tonight, Coach?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. Glad to be on here, man. Appreciate you having me.
We're glad to have you here on Live from the Pines. Before we get started, please use discount code 93. Please give a special shout out to our guys at Zilker Belts and use discount code PINES936 for all online orders. It's in the top right of the screen right now. If you can see it, Zilker Belts, discount code PINES936 for all online orders. Shout out to our guy Austin Brown. We thank you for everything you do for us, Pods. But Coach Murphy, back to you. How you doing tonight? You know, how's everything going? You know, after the holiday, the kids are back at school.
Oh man, things are good, man. You know, we just getting back in the fold of things, getting off season rolling. Right now, we are in the process of phase 2 of off season, working on building that strength, man. Also, assessing the things that we did well and the things that we need to improve on for the next season. So we're having those meetings as coaches, in the process of hiring a new defensive coordinator this year. So we got a lot of things going on up at high school, man. A lot of things that are near and dear to us, man. And we're just excited about, this upcoming season, man, and this upcoming off season. So we're looking forward to spring ball getting here, April 23rd. You know the way it goes, man. It'll be here before you know it. So we're just excited, man, about all things going on in Humble America, man. So like I said, just happy to be on.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, sir. But before we dive into a little Humble Wildcat football, let's talk a little bit about you. You know, started off in Lufkin, playing football. Let's talk about your football career in Lufkin.
Oh man, so football career in Lufkin, man, it was, you go back to the heyday, man. Back whenever, I was a freshman, whenever we won a state championship there in Lufkin with Reggie McNeil and those guys, man. And so I came through with Coach Winfred Simmons and Coach McPherson,
Simmons,
Coach Foley.
Yeah,
So they were the freshman coaches, man. They were the freshman coaches. And so my freshman year, I graduated in 2005 with Javarsky Lane, Alton Dixon, McKenna Dixon, Roy Gardner. So that class, we came through together. We all played together our freshman year before we got broke up. But like I say, played freshman year, played tight end, linebacker. I never forget, my sophomore year, man, been on scout team playing running back, and coach asked for a scout team running back to go against those guys, and lined up back there in the backfield. Ran over a couple guys. They wasn't very happy about it, but that was my way of getting on varsity as a sophomore. In East Texas, man. If you're getting on varsity as a sophomore, it's something special. And so, like I say, my time in Lufkin was great, man. Playing for Coach Outlaw. Coach Quick was our defensive coordinator. Coach Lash was my linebacker coach. And so, playing for Lufkin, man, was a different brand of football, a different set of pride that you had, for just being a Panther. You grew up and you wanted to be a Panther. So playing ball there gave me a different outlook of how things should be and how things should run when it comes to running a successful program, and also just having that grit, that East Texas grit, man. Things are just different in East Texas. And so, like I say, growing up there and being able to play there, man, has played a huge role, in my career moving forward, man. And so I'm grateful for my time there, grateful for teammates that I'm still in communication with, but also, man, shout out to Coach Quick and happy retirement to him, man. Well deserved, great career, man. And like I said, I'm just excited to see what happens with Lufkin football moving forward, man.
Yeah, Lufkin, football is everything here in Lufkin, and losing a guy like Coach Quick is horrible. Nobody wants to see it. You lose a great
Right.
coach like that, somebody that came up in the program with Coach Outlaw. But like you said, happy retirement. Go enjoy your retirement. You earned it. Did a great job. But if we go back in time in Lufkin football, things were. It's just it was a different environment of football in the state of Texas in general then. But you look at today's football compared to football 20, 25 years ago. And it's like you got a lot of new teams pop up. There wasn't a lot of those same schools in the area. Some of those same schools are around for sure.
Right.
But you have a lot of new guys, coming into this, Richland Randall, for instance, like, what is that, their third year open?
Right. Yeah.
And, they had a chance to win a state championship, beat a great South Oak Cliff football team. But, the game of football is changing. The athletes are changing. The areas are changing. East Texas football as a whole, us, Dallas area, you go out to West Texas, Odessa, Permian, you go into Houston, Katy, and all those schools. Like, a lot of those schools have fell off. They're still, they're going to win district. They're going, they're going to make a run in the playoffs, but they're not, everybody's not getting to that same goal you used to see. You wouldn't see a state championship game, for 10 years without Katy in there.
Right.
South Lake Carroll, shout out to Riley Dodge. He had a chance to make it back to the, state championship game this year. But, like, you get what I'm saying, though. Those same schools you're normally seeing, the Lake Travis, Odessa Permian, the Carters, all those schools, they're not as prominent as they used to be.
Right. So, I mean, if you look at it, man, I talk to my kids all the time about just coming up and us, playing the Katys of the world and playing Streetport Evangel coming through and
Forgot about them.
Yeah, Streetport Evangel, man, David Booty, those guys, playing those guys. And so, like I say, the brand of football, with the expansion of, the households, man, like even here, man, like when I moved this way to New Caney, my first year when I moved there, it was just an apartment complex. And within about 2 or 3 years, you had, 4 or 5 different subdivisions that were up. You had new schools coming up. And so, again, with that, it comes another, breed of talent, another breed of new life. And so you're getting good ball coaches. Like you said, Richmond Rounder, man, has a great football coach who's been around the game for a while. And you get a guy there in those areas, man, and those areas are being flooded with a lot of surplus of young households with great athletes, and people move out to those suburban areas to get out of the inner city of Houston. So again, you get that surplus of different schools that's popping up. And if you notice here recently, those schools end up, you think of the Katy Paytos of the world, and those schools open up and they end up, Shadow Creek. And so those guys end up in the state championship playing, winning state games. And so it has changed a little bit, but I will say, the brand of football, those guys, they're still around, and it's just now it's a little spread out because there's a lot more schools. Back then, 5A was the biggest classification, and now you got, 6A, and we're getting close to, getting to a 7A classification with, some of the schools here pushing 4, 5, 6,000 kids. And so, again, I think now, just with the growth that we're seeing, man, you're seeing a lot of these new schools pop up on the scene and be successful, man. And so again, I still think the brand of football, we talk about how things have changed in football. I think football is still football. I just think that at the end of the day, there's been some things put in place for safety precautions and things, man. But at the end of the day, man, even though I'm in Houston, the Houston area, man, we still try to bring a East Texas type feel, to our program. As far as a hard nosed, blue collar type kids, man, and we want our kids to operate and work a certain way, man. And it's just like I said again, I'm biased. Just something special about East Texas. Something special about those kids that you notice out there, baling hay. Those kids out there just got to get up in the morning and go in the chicken coop, man. Go out there. I mean, it's just a different feel. The pride that goes into playing for the hometown team, to where down here in the city, man, you have kids jumping around a lot, because you got 10 schools within a 10-mile radius. And so again, just trying to bring that feel down here is a unique thing. And like I said, it's something that we buy into, and we talk about protecting the H. And that's one of the things we want to do, is like bringing that pride and tradition back to where we at with a good East Texas feel to it.
So, being in your area in Humble, your district is not a joke. You got North Shore, you got Atascocita, you got Summer Creek, you got C King, correct?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure I missed a few.
You got Kingwood. They went 4 rounds deep.
4 rounds, yeah.
Yeah, went 4 rounds deep this year. So yeah. This district, man, like I say, we play in the SEC of high school football, and when I was afforded the opportunity to take the job as a defensive coordinator, that's one of the things that actually attracted me to the job, was the ability to be able to coach against those teams, week in and week out. Because again, coming from a program like Lufkin, Coach Outlaw always looked for big time games. So we would open up the season in Lufkin playing Katy. I still remember that we were in open season with Katy. Yeah, we beat Katy. We beat them 35-6, and that same year they went off and won the state championship at the end of that year. And so
And
I,
they didn't want to play Lufkin much more after that, didn't they?
no, they didn't. No, we played them 2 years and whooped them pretty good both, and that was the end of that. And so, and I also remember the round robin district in Lufkin, man. You know, when I was in school, man, we played Longview twice, played John Tyler twice, Tyler Lee twice, and you had to play these teams, man, and all those teams were ranked, you know, in the state of Texas, and you was playing them twice. And so the feel of being able to go to play in a great district that I coach in right now, got some great head coaches who do a great job with their staffs, with their kids, man. And so just the challenge of being able to every day show up and have to put your best foot forward, man. As a competitor, man, it's something that you run to. You know, a lot of people they run from competition, man, or they run from the smoke. I'm just different. I'm just bred different. I just think that in order to be respected, man, you got to go take it. And so in this district, every week. There's an opportunity, man, to make a splash. And so, again, for us, man, you know, that's why we're working hard, getting stronger in the off season, because we do have those teams, the Summer Creeks, the North Shores, the Tascasitas, the Kingwoods. And like I say, this year, our district, you know, we all played each other in the quarterfinals. It was North Shore, Tascasita, it was Kingwood, Summer Creek, because that's the type of talent, that's the type of ball that's been played in this area. And so, with us having the ability to actually even being a hunt at the end of the season was big for us. But now we got to find a way to get over that hump. Our kids are learning how to win again. We're bringing back the true pride and tradition of Humble, because Humble was and is the flagship of the district. When you look back at the guys that have come through, from the Gerard Johnsons, from the Sammy Davises, the Bertha Berries, man. There's a lot of guys, David Boston, David Givens. It's so many big time guys that came through Humble High School. And so just making sure our kids understand that pride and tradition that lays into, that is deep inside of Humble culture, man, is huge for us, just bringing it back. But again, like I said, the district we're in, man, you know, there's never a week that you're like, you know what, you know, we can just kind of, you know, take it easy this week. We're gonna take Monday off and
Gonna get
kind of
healthy this
recover.
week.
It don't work like that. And so again, it's something that we embrace. It's something that, you know, you love, and it's something as a competitor, man, that you like. Those are the moments you live for. You live for those moments to be able to play in those football games, man. And again, the biggest thing is just preparing your kids to be able to go fight for battle day in and day out. So I mean, it's big time.
So you as a head coach, and you know, you see these kids every day. You know, I see you on social media. You're very involved in your community. You're very involved in your kids' lives and everything. How do you keep these kids positive throughout the season when they see, you know, Summer Creek, Atascocita, Kingwood, North Shore, all these, you know, these big schools? Like, how do you keep them positive? Because, you know, these kids are in the same district. They grew up playing against each other. How do you keep your kids positive and, you know, winning minded with, you know, them seeing that, you know, the opponent of the weeks?
I mean, the thing about it is you got to create that culture, man. I mean, at the end of the day, man, we tell our kids all the time, man, they put their pants on the same way we do. And so at the end of the day, you know, you want your kids to be excited about the opportunity, again, to play those games. And so at the end of the day, man, it boils down to the culture that you're creating on a day in and day out basis. It's not something you just wake up and say, you know, hey, we finna go play the North Shore Mustangs. It's something that you pour into your kids on a day in and day out basis. And so now the culture has changed to where our kids like look forward to those games. Our kids look forward, you know what I'm saying, to going out and being able to compete against, you know, some of the top talent out here in the area. And so I think the way you do that is the way you approach every day. And every day has to be the mindset of majoring in the minors. And you got to major in the minors in order to be able to be the big things. And so in order for you to be able to slake live, man, you got to be able to major in the minors and making sure that the things you do on a day-to-day basis are done within a way, and they got to be done with purpose. They got to be done intentionally and deliberately. And so you just can't go out there and roll the ball out and say, this is what we're finna do. And so again, it's strategic. And what you're doing when it comes to analytics, the data, looking at the things that you could, like I said, again, the process we're in now is looking at watching those games, watching the film, seeing what plays that, you know, that could have went a different way, or seeing some things that maybe we could have done better defensively. But also the main thing is just preparing your kids, man. You know, the thing about it is when they're prepared in a way and you create the adversity within your off season, within your practice, you know what I'm saying? Once they get to the game, you know, the game is like the cherry on top. because you've put them through so much strain, you put them through so much stress, you put them through so much adversity. So once they get to the game and they get in those battles with the Summer Creeks, with the North Shores, with the Tascasitas, those kids understand that, the work we've put in has prepared us to be able to play in those games. And so, when I first got here, those games against Seed King were, we were getting beat by 30, you know what I mean? And then, my first year as a head coach, we lost to him in overtime. This year we were up at halftime. And so it's those type of things that your kids start to see that, if we buy into the process, we buy into what coaches is given to us. We know that our coaches are putting their best foot forward to put us in a position to be successful. I think that's how you get over that hump when it comes to those games, man. Because again, if your kids are afraid and your kids are worried about the opponent, then you as a coach, you haven't prepared those kids. And so that's the biggest thing that we're tasked to, man, is to make those kids believe in themselves. And that's why you have to be a motivator. That's why you have to be a guy that's, that make those connections with kids, and those kids will run through a brick wall for you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we roll. Like I say, it's all about the culture piece. It's all about a mindset. And like I say, when you make that decision to be great, it doesn't matter what opponent it is that's across from it, because we treat them all the same.
Like you said, they put the pants on the same way you put your pants on.
You know what I mean? So, it's time to go to war. You know what I mean? So that it is what it is.
That's great right there. And everybody knows it. You pull up the schedule, you see almost football schedule. Everybody's counting you out. And like you said, the first year you're there, I think you lost by 2. I mean, they beat you in overtime. This year you lost by 2, right? I mean, you were up at halftime. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you see the progress, you see the kids, they're starting to realize, okay, maybe coach isn't, bullshitting us. Maybe coach is,
right.
The reason he's putting us through this and making us do all this stuff because it's going to pay off one day. And if you have kids that buy in and have that same mindset, you can accomplish a lot, especially, on a football field. Because let me tell you something. I'm a Texas fan. You watch the Texas-Arizona State game. And everything I 100% believe Texas went in this game thinking we're about the cakewalk. Cadillac, win this ball game easy, get ready to go play Ohio State.
Right.
And it didn't come that way. And I think Ohio State went that. Arizona State went that week. They knew that it was beat Texas week.
Right.
And they were going to give Texas everything they had 4 quarters, and they did that. And it's I think if you prepare, the way you prepare goes a long way.
Right.
And you see it all the time. Especially in high school. But we saw a lot of upsets this year.
Exactly.
You see Longview beat DeSoto. You see Niederland beat PNG.
Yeah.
You see all these games, these upsets, and stuff that nobody sees coming. And it's all about who's putting in the work, and that goes a long way. And who was it? Also, it was Westlake versus North Shore.
Yeah.
Nobody had nobody had Westlake winning that ball game.
They dominated. Yeah.
Too many athletes on the field. And Westlake just came with a better game plan, and it worked. And I talk about the kids at South Lake Carroll and Austin Vandergrift and schools like that so much, because I truly, honestly believe these kids buy into football a different way than most schools do.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like when I was at Cy Ranch, I seen kids that wouldn't take a snap at Lufkin.
Yeah.
But each day they showed up, they were early. They were ready to practice. And the whole practice, they were going to hit the shit out of they wanted to be out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like it's just a different breed. When you install something in a kid at a young age, and I think it goes back to your childhood programs. And I see you're very involved in the youth football and all.
No doubt.
You get these kids starting playing football at a young age. They learn what it means to be a part of a football team.
Yep.
When you get to middle school, and some places have the privilege to know, okay, my kid's going to Lufkin for sure. For sure what high school your kid's going to. A lot of places you get to middle school and you play with these kids your whole middle school career, and then 9th grade year you got a whole different quarterback, whole different offensive line, you got a whole different system. And I truly believe once you get involved in youth football when you're at a higher level, like a high school football coach, and you get these kids brought up understanding what this means to be to the middle school level all the way to the high school level, you create a different kind of beast.
No doubt. I think that's that's one of my biggest goals, and that's why I spend so much time at those HFL fields, man, because again, it starts at an early age. With those kids, like I said, loving and wanting to be Wildcats, man, and buying into what it is that we're doing, learning the basics of what we're doing. Those parents and those coaches, man, believing in what we're doing, and just knowing that, what I'm saying, we're visible, man. And so you always want to talk about vertical alignment. A lot of people talk about it, but again, in order for you to be vertically aligned, man, you have to make the sacrifice to be out there and be visible. Even regardless of what the case may be. And so I actually enjoy being out there amongst our youth at the middle school levels as well, man, because I understand the importance that it puts when it comes to the success of the program, and also just the buy-in. I mean, just the community buy-in, because we're more so community based than anything else. Because at the end of the day, man, we want to be positive beacons of the community in order to be able to change the culture around, not just the wins and losses on the football field, but we try and change lives. And so that's why we spend so much time when it comes to the community service aspect of it, and being out there, because again, it's that mentality, man. It's a mentality that's built at an early age, and that's a lot of those programs that you mentioned. The South Lake Carrolls, the Austin Westlake, the Lake Travises, the Cadies of the world. Those programs, man. Those kids are learning that system, man, at an early age, and they're understanding what it means to be a dragon at an early age. And if you look back into the early days, when Lufkin was a powerhouse, man, that's what it was about. You had your little Panthers, and you had the Jeff Rogers of the world, who what I'm saying, were pouring in, the Keglers of the world, pouring into those youth football leagues, man. And so there was just a different aspect with it. Now, don't get me wrong, they do a great job now down there with the youth football league, but I think there's a disconnect between the two. And so once you connect that back together, and you get those guys back in the fold, who were not only just the little league coaches, but also the 7-on-7 coaches. And so everybody was preaching the same thing. Everybody had the same mentality. Everybody had the same goal. And like I say, when you do that, you're truly vertically aligned. And I believe it opens up, what I'm saying, a window and a door for success, in my opinion.
Yeah, and me and Ralph Thomas were talking on the show a couple weeks ago, and it was like, when I was growing up, like, I didn't want to be, Randy Moss or Peyton.
No, man.
I wanted to be Ralph Thomas, Reggie McNeil,
Yeah.
Jaworski Lane, Quentin Holden, EJ Schenkel. Like, we knew those.
Yeah.
We knew these guys, the Sparkies. We knew these guys on a different level. It felt like we went to every Lufkin game growing up.
Yes.
Like, my family did. And, they had that little that little grass area on the right side of, you're walking in the JO on the home side, the right side right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, somebody had a football.
No, without a doubt.
And we were already told not to go out there and get hurt because we had a game the next morning.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
We were out there playing a full-out game. And, Lufkin game, we'd be up by 40 going into halftime.
Yeah.
We would stay the whole game just so that after the game was over, I could go on the field, and me and Bo Atkinson would throw a football like we were going to be out there one day. We look forward to those things. And, nothing against what's going on in Lufkin right now, but I've talked to some of the kids personally. I'm like, you know who this is? No. I'm like, how do you not know this person? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like, y'all don't go back and watch Lufkin high school football YouTube videos, and I got DVDs in there, like the state championship game, the U.S. Trinity game, to go to the state championship game. I was 1 year old, but it just excited me, and there's you can go on for days naming guys that played football at Lufkin that we wanted to be like, and it was like it was just a different feeling, and I remember playing. I remember when we'd play against South Lake, they'd have those kids down there, on the field, running routes and stuff, they're not playing ball boys and stuff. Like, I just truly believe that, once you're you get a taste for something, you want that.
Oh, no doubt, man. Like I said, I remember vividly, man. After the games would always be broadcast on Saturday morning too, man. And you watch the game. You was at the game, then you watch the game again. Then you go outside and you reenact all the things that happened, man. And so, man, just having that, man. Like, just last night, Jonathan Kegler was reffing our girls basketball game, man, and so just remembering him in the state championship game, that fake punt, you know what I mean, and him going 30, 40 yards, man, like all that stuff, man, it just plays back in your mind, man. You think about all the good times, you know what I mean. So like I said, I just ran him last night. He was he's reffing down here in Houston, man, and he ran into me at the game, man. So it's just you think about all those times, man. You think about the pride and tradition, man, that runs deep in Lufkin, man. I tell people all the time. I remember it was we played Longview at SFA, man, and we pull up there, and man, it's fans lined up. I mean, wrapped around the corner. The stands are full. There's no seats in this. I mean, they're sitting on the grass hill, man. Like just craziness, man. And even home games, man. It didn't matter who we were playing. You had fans on the home
Both
side, and you
sides.
had on the visitor side, man. And so we were just like that's what we knew. Like that's what we expected, and the pride and all that, man, was just different and surreal, man. It's just like I tell people all the time. Some people have to go play at the big universities to play in that atmosphere, man. But to be able to play in that atmosphere, what I'm saying, week in and week out, man, it was just special. Like it's just special, man. It gives you a different respect for the game, man, and for what the game has done for me and for what Lufkin football done for me, man. It's just it's beyond words, as far as like what the game did for me there, man.
I remember being a kid vividly, like playing City League football in Lufkin, and like, we would get ready to play for Jeff or the Falcons or whatever. And, those guys that, they played Friday night, just got a film, they're coming out to the games to watch us play. And like, they're putting spat on for us, they're getting us ready for the games. And like, that meant everything to us, like
Yeah.
that was like, we looked at those guys as superstars.
Yes.
And
no doubt.
I remember being a kid, and I don't know what year it was. I was thinking about this at work today. I was talking to my buddies, and Lufkin played North Shore. It was like 2008.
I remember when we played. Well, I know we played them in the state championship run.
No, we played them at home. It was a home game. It was after the hurricane. I think either we needed a game or they needed a game. And we lose you. You there?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Back?
I can't hear you, but I see you.
Let's see. I'm not muted. All right. Little technical break. You hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
But like I was saying about that North Shore game, I think it was after a hurricane. Either they needed a game or we needed a game, and we ended up playing each other.
Yeah.
And I forgot. I think he like broadcast the game or something. And I remember it was nowhere to sit in that stadium.
Yeah.
North Shore was ranked top in the state, top in the nation probably then. And I mean, it was just Lufkin almost won that game.
Yeah.
And it was just a crazy environment. And I can go back all the way when South Lake Carroll played Miami Northwestern. I got to go to that game. And it was phenomenal. There was so many athletes on that field. I can't think of the guy's name. He played quarterback at Miami. It was at I can't think of it. He played quarterback at Miami. He was committed to Miami during the game, but obviously he went to Miami, and just getting to see all that talent on one field in a high school football game was nuts.
No, for sure, man. It's just like I say, you just thinking back about all the big time games because Lufkin was one that we never dug smoke in Lufkin, and so we were gonna find games regardless of who it was. We didn't care, what your rank was, no matter what it. I still remember the time when we got put into the district with the Woodlands, and everybody's like, oh, well, Lufkin has left the East Texas district. Now they're in the Houston area, and this is gonna happen. And they had Goodson, who was at Klein Collins. He played at A&M, played in the league, and I just remember playing against all those guys. Kyle Draback played for the Woodlands, ended up going and playing in the majors, and just all those games that people like, hey, now Lufkin's in the big league, and we just went down there and did what we always do, and went out and dominated and played a good brand of football, and now those battles with the Woodlands, those were some tough battles. I still remember back to this day when Javorski had the flu, man, and he was like throwing up after every freaking play. But he scored 5 times. He scored all 5 touchdowns that game, man, and it was just a battle, man. So just thinking back to those games, just so many great games and so many opportunities, man, to play good ball. Play good ball.
I was at the airport last week in Houston, and it was a crazy day. And I met a guy, and he was probably, I think he's a year older than me. He was from the Woodlands. And we're
Mm,
sitting there talking. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm from the Woodlands." I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." And I'm like, "You know Daniel Lasco?" And
who?
he's like, "No, I don't know who that is." And I'm like, "You went to the Woodlands?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You don't know who Daniel Lasco is?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Dude, he was one of the best running backs I got to lay eyes on." And he's like, "I
Yeah.
didn't know." Like, he played against Lufkin every year when I was growing up. Like, he played at Cal Berkeley, I believe. Like, he was a dog. And, it just, I don't know. I just think it mainly depends on where you're from, but, football is everything in, Lufkin, the Woodlands, all the
Yeah.
other we talked about. It's everything to the communities.
Right.
And, I see it in Humble, like, all over social media. You see Robert Murphy posting, Humble football this, Humble football that. You get on Twitter, you see, like, the kids are just popping up, popping up, popping up. And it's just, you're branding your school.
No, no doubt. No, no doubt. And so, like I said again, man, Almost a special place, man. It's a special place. You got a great administration. We got good kids, man. We just got great kids, and so we just want to make sure, we want people to see, what we already know. We already know the good things going on. So we try to make sure that we push that out. It's for the world to see, man. But like I said again, with all that being said, we still putting in the work, grinding, and making sure that we're prepared and ready for this next season coming up.
So 2025 season coming up. What are y'all gonna be looking like next year? Like, you returning a bunch of guys?
Yeah, so we're returning our entire secondary. We're returning two defensive linemen. On the defensive side, we'll have two new inside backers. We got some young guys that we're looking at right now that I think gonna be able to fill those void. We're graduating two guys who one of them been a starter for me since he was a freshman. Other guys been a starter since his sophomore year, so we're losing a lot of experience in the middle. But I think overall, defensively, I think we're going to be a lot better because I believe that we're going to be solid up front, and I also believe we're going to have the best secondary we've had since I've been here. Offensively, I think we'll have two dynamic quarterbacks that are both able to sling it around. We got one that's about 6'3". He's a sophomore, and we got another freshman who played this year up. He's more so he has the wiggle. The other guy's strong arm. I think our offensive line is going to be a lot better. They were young last year. We had a lot of sophomores start on offensive line, so it's always good when you get those guys back because you win and lose ball games in the trenches. And so again, our offensive line will be a lot more. Um, have a lot more under the belt this year. They have those varsity snaps, and I think we're going to be very dynamic at receiver too as well this year. And so the other thing, we're losing a dynamic guy in the backfield, MacArthur Baker, who is special at running back. But I believe we have some pieces to be able to supplement and complement what we got going on offensively. So I'm excited about what we got. We'll be young, but again, I believe that the biggest thing is I think we'll be better in the trenches next year, which is going to play dividends for us. And so we're just excited about the opportunity, man, to get those guys back out, man. And so that's where I believe, and anybody else to echo that, man. You can have all the guys on the outside, you can have the dynamic quarterback, you can have the running back, but if those guys aren't ready in the trenches, man, it's going to be a long season. I believe we're going to be a lot better in the trenches. So I think we're going to be a better ball club because of that.
Well, Coach Murphy, everything you talked about tonight has been positive, and I look forward to getting to follow some Humble Wildcat football next year. And I look forward to getting you to come back on the show before the season starts. Like you said, returning, that secondary, getting those guys back, going to be strong on the. You set up front, offensive line. Got some guys come back for their junior season. You got two good quarterbacks. You got to replace, that running back. That's a when you got a good running back, it's hard to lose a good running back.
Yeah.
And I think that's anywhere in high school football, college football. A running back, having a good running back goes a long way. When you're able to establish a run game,
Right.
Especially with having a mobile quarterback and a guy that can sling the ball, that goes a long way. But we look forward to following Humble football next year. But before we let you go, I got a quick question for you: Notre Dame or Ohio State?
uh Man, I think for one, man, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think that both of them are playing probably the best ball that they've played, all year. I'm pulling for Notre Dame, pulling for Freeman, man. I think that he's done a phenomenal job with those guys over there in Notre Dame. But if I was a bet man, I would say Ohio State because right now, man, I mean the things that they're able to do. they're just dynamic, man. Like they've been playing some, and I also believe Ryan Day is out to prove a lot of doubters wrong. Because a lot of people's writing him off and calling for his job, and so I think he's on a mission to prove a lot of people wrong, man. So again, I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think it's going to be an exciting ball game. I think it's going to be a lot of great defense being played, which I love. A lot of people they're bored with that, but me, I'm a defensive guy, so I love seeing teams play great defense. So I think it's going to be a defensive battle. But I do think that when it's all said and done, I'm gonna call a 24-17 ball game. But I think it's gonna be a good one.
Taking the under, I see. Man, I like both sides of the ball. I like defense. I like offense. I like Ohio State. I like Notre Dame. I like what they bring to the table. I don't like, I give two shits about Ohio State, but I really think Notre Dame's gonna win this ball game.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just got that feeling. Notre Dame, they played a lot of good football this year. They lost to Northern Illinois, as we all know, but they haven't lost a game since. But
right.
The way they match up front is going to give Ohio State a run for their money because they have a great offensive line, and that's one thing Notre Dame's going to always have. They're going to have a good offensive line. They're going to have a good defensive line, and they have a great secondary this year. And I really like Riley Leonard. I think Riley Leonard knows how to use his legs. People talk about him because he doesn't throw the ball a lot, but why would I throw the ball if I don't have to?
Right.
If I can run the ball down your throat all day, why would I? What I got to throw the ball for?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Like I said again, in my heart, I'm pulling for Notre Dame. But like I said again, if I was a bet man on this game, I'm going to put my money with Ohio State. I just think that the brand of ball, the level of ball they're playing right now, man, is elite. And so I'm just interested to see, man. It's going to be a chess match, and so I'm just interested to see how that thing works out. But most importantly, man, I'm just hoping for a good ball game.
Last question before I let you go. If Ryan Day does lose this game, is he fired?
No, man. I don't think he's fired, man. The things he's done in the college playoff, the games he's won. I get it that he hasn't beaten Michigan, which is a big thing for Ohio State. And the difference there, man, is that there, at other places you can go 12-2 or 13-2, and everybody's happy. But in that place right there, for one, you better beat Michigan. So I know that's something that's hanging over his head. But I don't think that he's gone if he loses. I think without a doubt he'll be back. But I also believe that he's going to get over the hump, man, and get it done. But like I say, I don't think he's out. I know a lot of people, there's been a lot of speculations that, if this didn't happen, he was gone. If that didn't happen, he was gone. But I think he's proven, day in and day out that even with all the distractions, even with all the things from the outside noise, what a lot of us coaches preach is that it only matters what's going on inside this locker room and what we believe. And I believe that showed, big time within these college football playoffs, how they went out and played and won these ball games have been huge.
Well, Coach Murphy, I hope you're right. I don't know. I understand, nobody wants to lose, but Ryan Day has did a lot at Ohio State. He's produced a lot. He's did a lot. He hasn't accomplished anything near what Urban Meyer did, but I don't think you get rid of him yet. I think you hang on. And
I just don't see how you do that. But again, we've seen crazy things happen. So
that's very true.
In this profession, man, one thing about it, you got to have thick skin because one week everybody love you, the next week everybody wants you fired. So it's a love-hate relationship, man. But you got to love it, man.
Well, Coach Murphy, we wish y'all nothing but success this year. Like I said, I'd love to have you back on the show before the 2025 football season kicks off. We thank you for your time tonight. If you're watching the show tonight, please like, subscribe, and follow. Go look up. Is it Humble High School Football? What's it on Twitter?
It's at Football Humble.
Football Humble. Follow Live on the PINES podcast also. Go like, subscribe, share it. One more time before we let you go. Zilker Belts, discount code PINES936 for all online orders, 25% off. Y'all take advantage of that, guys. Coach Murphy, thank you again.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.